straight touchdowns for SBU, and they're back on top. They've missed 2 of the 3 extra points. Thomas Cook Jr., he can change things in a hurry, and he's got a chance to. Thomas Cook Jr. about to turn this game around.
Well, he sure could. That's what I said. We've still got 4:09 left. Boy, he found the seam. But I tell you what, he doesn't have any cramps.
Well, we talked about it last year. He made a huge return in the 3rd quarter against Concordia, and he does it here from 90 yards out, give or take.
Cardinal fans, welcome back to the 2nd edition already of Inside the Cardinal Playbook, and I'm with 2 happy campers, myself and Coach Kruse, after a big win, 29-26 over Southwest Baptist, our first game of the year last Thursday night. And Coach, why don't you just talk about the game? We'll keep it simple. It was an exciting game. You had to overcome all kinds of adversity, so I'm just going to let you roll.
Yeah, it's nice. We're a couple days removed from that. My heart rate's actually come down, and my blood pressure a little bit, and my hairline's not getting any better.
Your hairline's gone.
Yeah, I know. You get in games like that, and it goes pretty quick. But it was, it was one of those games that you get into, and you got to have a bunch of guys step up and be the guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm so proud of our team and the fact that we, throughout the course of a game, we had, I think maybe you made a comment about it pregame. My brother was telling me he was watching the pregame and said that it was 130 or 120 degrees on the turf. And
it really was.
The heat index and all that stuff. And so we had a bunch of guys with heat things, especially in the second half, 15 to 16 guys. Well, as you well know, when you have that many starters or frontline guys go down with heat-related things, you can have so many issues, especially in the substitutions and the special teams part of the game.
Yeah, people just look at offense and defense. Great point. But I kept telling Rick on the broadcast, I said, I'm not too sure who's going to be coming out on specialty teams.
Well, and the operation of, when a guy goes down the last play of the series and you're going into a special team of getting all that communicated on the sideline of who's up next. And I had at the back of my mind about late in the first half, early second half, when guys were starting to go down, hey, get ready to call a timeout, because we're probably, with as many guys we've had go down, going to have a special team substitution there. And that's just, when you have 15 or so guys go out, you're going to have that. I mean, that's just going to happen, and we didn't have one. And that's a tribute to our players being engaged in the game and being with the next man up mentality and knowing what the situation was, understanding who just went down and knowing, hey, I got to jump in here, or this guy's got to jump in here. And we didn't miss a beat in offense, defense, or special teams with the next guy stepping up and stepping into some of them stepping into situations they'd never been in college football before.
Well, yeah, you had 2 freshmen that you probably didn't even think they touched the field. One of them ended up being the hero of the game.
Exactly. So there's those situations like that you preach the next man up mentality, but you don't know how you're going to react in those situations till you're thrown in the fire. And we were thrown in the fire in the biggest way the other night, and so proud of our team for the focus and the approach that they took to the game. And when you take that type of approach, you put yourself in opportunities to win late, which we did.
I totally agree. I don't think I've ever seen in one position area, and I was correct. I had a show earlier this morning, I told you, but we had 10 defensive backs that played in that ball game. Now, here's where I got to get.
And we're not playing nickel cover. We're not playing 5 DBs at a time. We're playing 4 right now.
Four, and that's a bunch. I've never seen that in one position area ever before. Usually a defensive lineman will go down, a defensive back, a corner, or a wide out. But to your credit and your entire coaching staff, and you already talked about it a little bit, but all those kids were ready to play. You had to feel good about it.
Yeah, that's a good feeling, and you look at the secondary position, and those guys are playing a lot of reps, and they're running a long ways on each play and covering in a lot of space. But some people don't think about those core secondary players are also most of the time 4 core special teams players as well. So when I say 4 core, as you well know, but 4 core meaning kickoff return, punt, and punt block, your 4 core special teams. So they're not only getting defensive reps, but they're taking those reps back to back on all of those special teams.
They get very little time except for when they're on.
Yeah, exactly. So on a hot night like that is one of the positions that's hit the hardest, just because those guys are getting so many more reps than a lot of the other positions on the field. And I was proud of that position group, but with all of them, just their how they stepped into the game and ready to play. Now, That's not to say, as we went through the film on Friday, we've got plenty of young mistakes, and some of those guys that stepped in made plenty of mistakes, but they weren't effort mistakes, and they weren't I'm scared of the lights, in the situation type mistakes. It was just, hey, these are some game situations that maybe I haven't been in before, and next time I go into them, I'll maybe have a little bit better approach. You look back on it, and while those games are real tough ones to be in sometimes, when you win those games and you get a chance to see your team react that way and play as many guys as we played across our entire roster in all phases, it helps you going forward, because now you've got more guys with real-time, real-life game experience. And so it made our team stronger being able to win a game like that.
Well, this is the first time I could say this since you've been a head coach, but you actually had kids that were out there that had experience in these kinds of situations. Yep. And I really think, Southwest Baptist lost a few guys. I really think you showed your poise, and I think that experience paid off the other night.
Well, we did some good things in the game in all phases, but the one phase of the game, and this has stayed kind of true to who we've been for the last several years, where I thought we made the biggest strides and the biggest difference was in special teams. I mean, we were very good in the special teams game. Now, I don't want to jinx us, and as we talked to the players about the other day we were really good in these areas, but can we be better? We're good right now. Can we be great? And we need to be consistently good and great in those areas for us to be successful as a team. And you look at the 2 takeaways on special teams, a touchdown on special teams, the coverage units were really solid. Their kickoff return, I think, for the other team, they averaged negative 2.7 yards of return on 3 returns, and kickoff and kickoff return and pump block and all the things in our special teams units were very, very solid the other night, and that allowed us to be in the situations we were in the game, because we won the hidden yardage battle, as you notice, being able to put them back in their field zone a couple different times, and so that was all a positive as well.
Well, why don't we talk a little bit about, let's stay positive. Let's talk a little bit about the players of the game and the week. Why don't you go ahead and give them kudos, and every one of them deserved it. And I want to tell you, it was hot.
Yeah, it was a tough one. We had, and I told the players this the other day, we had a lot of nominees as we sat around and watched the film and with coaches. But once we made the rule that you had to have played more than a half of football, a lot of those guys fell off the chart because, with heat illness and some of those other things, there wasn't a lot of them that played the whole game. But we went with, on offense, a guy who, has been a good player here for a couple of years, in Thomas Cook, and, the carries he had, over 127 yards, I think, of rushing. He had a few negative gains too, but over maybe 117 yards rushing on the night, and I
believe he was in over 200 yards in total yardage.
He was 257 total yards, which I think ranks seventh best in the conference ever, with 257 all-purpose yards. And then he was also named, he was our special teams player of the week as well, for the conference, and the conference special teams player of the week as well. So, he takes 2 of the awards home this week. And then defensively, we had some guys play really well. Nick Messer was playing off the charts until he started to seize up a little bit with the heat illness stuff. But Jimmy DeStefano was our player of the week on defense. And then, as we always do, those unsung guys that you maybe don't see right now, but you're going to see a lot of in a couple years. We've got a young tight end that has been working against our offense, the Schmidt kid that played really, really well against the defense here the last couple of weeks. And then a young secondary player, Bauman, that played really, really well against the offense the last couple of weeks. And those guys are doing a great job too. Well,
real quickly, we're running out of time. We got Colorado School Mines. We're going to fly out there to Golden, all of us, and looking forward to a great program every year. I like to see a lot of the William Jewell fans out there. But real quickly, you want to talk about them a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, we've played them in the past, and I think we all know, some of us that have been around for a couple of years know how good they are and just what type of program that is, what Coach Stitz put together out there. Coach Weigel, who I know you're going to talk to here in a little bit too, and he's going to talk a lot about our offensive approach from last week. And those two coached together for a long 10 years plus at 2 or 3 different stops, and Coach Weigel was part of getting the program started out there at the School of Mines as well, and beautiful location. It'll be a little bit cooler than it was last week, which will be very much welcomed by our team too, I think. But it'll be a tall order, and we're going to have to go out there and execute better than we did last week to have a chance to get out of there with a victory. But they'll be ready to play, and with the approach our team took this last week, I'm really, really excited about this weekend.
Well, Coach, good luck to you and the Cardinals. It was great to get that first one. I know I was just as excited as everybody else. You're part of this. And like I said, Cardinal fans, hope to see all of you out. I hope you can come out to see us play Colorado School of Mines. Starting time is, help me with that.
It's a noon Mountain time, so it'll be 11 o'clock, or excuse me.
It'll be 1 o'clock.
Be 1 o'clock here. 1 o'clock East.
So if you're going to listen and watch, that'd be the thing to do. But hopefully all of you will be out there, and you need to come out and watch the Cardinals. They're very excited and play. Cardinal fans, welcome back to the second segment of Inside the Cardinal Playbook, and one of my favorite coaches up here with him, Jewell. I get the opportunity to interview today, and Coach Weigel, the new first-year offensive coordinator, not new by coaching here, but by any stretch of the imagination. But Coach, I really mean it. I really was impressed with the different things that you have done this year with the offense and the different looks. And how did you feel about the first game?
It was interesting to get back on the sideline and be there and calling the plays. After the game, you always think, oh, man, it looked really, really bad. And then, of course, you watch the film and you're like, we left some stuff out there, and DJ did good at times, and then at other times maybe a bad decision here or there, and put entirely too much pressure on himself, I think.
Now, correct me, Coach, it was only his third start, though, in college.
Right,
yeah.
Right. So he's as new as I am, basically, and getting back in the saddle. So it was, when we watched the film, we saw, well, if we'd have pulled it here and looked at the pass on this, or...
Well, that's why they have first games, too, Coach.
Yeah, I know, and I guess we wouldn't have anything to correct if we were perfect the first time out. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was good to see the kids be excited. I mean, when Cook returned that touchdown and being up 22-7 in a ball game that that nobody had us build to win. There were some very exciting times.
Well, one thing I noticed about Thomas, I thought he ran. We talked about his great quickness. He's always been a tremendous special teams player. And we talked before he got on, and I said, I don't know why they kicked the ball to him. I'm glad they did. But, I think he's running better inside tackle to tackle. I think he's a lot stronger.
Yeah, and I think, some of the things we're asking him to do in the scheme-wise, where we're giving him several different options of where he can hit it. That's kind of what he does. And because he'll stick it up in there, it'll be a cutback. Next time it'll be a bounce outside. And we don't overcoach him on that, and that's just his natural ability there. And he does a great job with it. The offensive line is doing some good things up there with just, hey, we're going to run this style of offense and not ask you to do too much and give that guy behind you a chance. And Brandon Kluwer and Logan Winter and Jake Hallman and the rest of them that we rotate in there are doing a really good job for us.
One thing I noticed too, and I don't think my old eyes are deceiving me, I think we got more speed, particularly at the receiver spot. Don't you feel that way?
Yeah, I do. And you'll see, when we pull it, we're trying to get it to some of those little speedsters. Too. Yeah, get it to them in a hurry and get them in space and let them go to work.
Right.
So it's not reinventing the wheel. You put your athletes in space and let them go.
You look at what you got coming up. We're going to Colorado. We're all flying out there to do that ball game. Of course, they're perennial, and you've got friends that coach on the staff. I know we've talked about that. What are you looking for? I think that they are going to see a different look after the video that they got from your first game. What are you expecting from them?
They're going to do what they do. I mean, they've been Coach Stitt's done a fantastic job, and they're very, very efficient offensively and very sound defensively, and that's what they're going to do. What you see on film is how they're going to play it, and they're not going to make mistakes, and they're going to play hard. And and we've kind of reiterated that to the players. It's a different ball game when we go out there. That's a team that finished 8-3 and perennially is nationally ranked.
Well, they're tough every year.
They know how to win, and that's something. If we want to get to that level, we need to learn how to do that, and against good people too.
Looking at the conference, I got a chance to chat with Coach Kruse last week a little bit about it. But your opinion as offensive coordinator, you've been around, you've been special teams coordinator, you've coached D-backs, you've done it all, and you've seen our conference. How do you kind of size up everything? I know Indianapolis is going to be tough. You know, they're always up there. But I think we really have an opportunity. I think if we could continue to gain confidence, particularly on offense, I think we have an opportunity to be very competitive in this conference, don't you?
You bet. And that's one thing. We use some objectives on offense. We really don't have goals. We have objectives that we look at, and it's all about being relevant. And I told the players, we have 4 of the first 5 at home. You can be relevant mid-season, and that's something that they've bought into, and I'm serious about it. That's if we want to be relevant, which is part of earning respect and setting yourself up for some different things at the end of the season, you got to win at home.
Coach, I've been around on doing this a long time, and I think when kids are having fun, they enjoy an offense where they can do some things that they're capable of doing. I think in the old days we used to just line up and you're tougher. But now in this day and age, they like to catch the ball. They like to catch the ball in space. They like to spread things out. And I think you can really see that enthusiasm with your offense this year.
Yeah, it's we're having fun with it too, and it's good to see them make the right read and then have an option after that. And,
right.
and the receivers, we don't ask them to block every down, and so they're able to do some different things. And it's really an offense built to let the kids play and have fun. The offensive line, they'll block, but those receivers, they don't like doing that. So anytime we can make them not have to do that, we're going to do that. And
they much rather catch the football.
They would, yes. The prima donnas out there.
Well, Coach, good luck to you in the offense. I know you'll get better every week. We're going out to Colorado, and I know it's going to be high altitude, and I hope high-octane offense for the Cardinals. So good luck this Saturday.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You betcha. Cardinal fans, welcome to the final edition today of Inside the Cardinal Playbook, and this is always my favorite area because we get to talk to the players. And Nick Messer, our middle linebacker, is going to talk a little bit. Nick, the cat's out of the bag, like I told you. I knew you guys were going to do some different things offensively and defensively, but you as basically the captain and really what the defense has been around you before you got cramps, which we'll talk about later on in this segment. Tell me how you like the defensive stuff that Coach Williams and the staff's doing.
I think it's exactly what we need. We've kind of changed our emphasis to more speed-oriented. So we moved some guys around position-wise, moved some guys that maybe at one point were playing safety down, playing like a stand-up D end, and we're all about speed and getting to the ball. And so I think that what we got going is exactly what we need.
Yeah, I think that you're exactly right. I think it's the type of team that is built around speed, and you got to adjust yourself. Now let's talk about Southwest Baptist a little bit. Their quarterback I thought was very good. And you guys pressured him a lot. Was going in the game plan to try to pressure him?
Oh yeah. Honestly, that's kind of our game plan every week going from here forward is pass rush. Just getting to the quarterback every time.
You bet. Well, you did a good job. Now, as far as being the captain of the defense or the guy, one of the main guys they really rely on, would you start thinking, honestly, I've been around since Moses was a monk, and I haven't seen 10 guys have to play in the secondary in a game. Now, I know you had to be concerned in certain situations, not that they didn't do a good job because they did. Every one of them did a good job. But they were dropping like foul flies. What did you feel like when you knew that, you're going to bring the pine, you're going to blitz quite a bit, but you need that secondary to cover?
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of odd, like seeing guys dropping like that, but we had guys that had never really been in positions that they were put in and that made some great plays. Yeah.
I mean, in key situations, I thought everybody was prepared. I told the coaching staff, and I'm asking you, I hope you feel the same way. Don't you feel like you were really, as a team, well prepared for that game? It was obvious,
for sure.
From what the coaches and I know that. It's always good to win the opener, but it's really good to win the conference. What is some of the team goals that you have, just from a player standpoint this year?
Well, I think our ultimate goal is to win the conference. I mean, it's important to try and win every game, but those are the most important games moving on from here forward. So
yeah. I totally agree with you. A little bit about who we're getting ready to play. We're going to play Colorado School of Mines. We're all flying out there, and it's going to be beautiful area. What are you looking at as far as Colorado School of Mines from the middle linebacker of our defense?
Well, they're a very good team. They got a really good offense. They run very similar stuff to what our offense is kind of moving in that direction toward doing. They're very fast-paced. They try and snap the ball, get a play.
You're not going to get any breaths this week,
not a whole lot.
Yeah.
I think they try and run a play like somewhere between every 12 to 15 seconds. So they're going to be moving the ball. But it's similar stuff that we've been going up against since the beginning of training camp, honestly, going against our own offense.
You bet.
And so I think we'll be prepared for it.
Feel pretty comfortable in what you're going to see.
Yep.
You know, I got to talk to you about the Heat here at the end of this interview. You know, I knew you were in trouble, and I remember when you had heat cramps last year and fought that a little bit. But when you were going to your toes to try to get your calves straightened out, when did it? Dude, why don't you just tell the fans, because there'll be a lot of grandmas and grandpas and mom and dads, and that's old turf. That's not new turf that we have out there.
Yeah.
And I went out to greet the officials and talk to them a little bit, and really, my feet got hot on the field.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not exaggerating. Am I right?
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, you knew it was coming, and why don't you just from a player standpoint talk about that a little bit, how you felt?
Well, I think the cramps kind of started coming on, honestly, at the beginning of the second half. And I was just trying to make it through. For a little while in the third.
Halftime, huh?
Yeah, for a little while in the third quarter, I was in survival mode pretty much until I ended up not being able to come back out and play. But it was just a really humid game, and when you're on the turf with the sun, shining on the turf all day, it picks up heat. So
it was really warm. You know, everybody was asking about diet. Since then, what have the coaches and the trainers? Because these are the things that the parents ask me after the game when we go out to eat and stuff like that. How are you attacking this? And we're going to have to face the altitude going to Colorado, which is different. Why don't you talk? I mean, they do prepare you for these things, and they do talk about that. So why don't you talk about being prepared for the altitude in Colorado?
Well, it's something that's it's somewhat hard to prepare for, just because. It's kind of something that you got to just get acclimated to.
Yeah, absolutely.
But from a hydration standpoint, I think our coaches have been talking and making it very clear that we need to hydrate, and not just hydrate, but carbohydrate, make sure we're eating everything right multiple days in advance to make sure that we can do everything we can to be ready for that.
Yeah, today's Monday. You need to start today and tomorrow and eat the proper things to get you ready to go. Well, Nick, you're a great player. You did a great job. Hope you'll stay hydrated.
Yeah, so do I.
So we got you for the whole 4 quarters.
So do I.
And Cardinal fans, again, just a reminder, the game will start at 12 o'clock out there in Golden, Colorado. It'll be at 1 o'clock here, so when you tune on, if you're going to watch the game, hopefully that some of you will get an opportunity to come out. It's a great trip. We'll have a great time going out there. Should be great weather from what it looks like, so it should be a lot of fun.